When the rain falls, it falls on both the freeborn and the slaves. When one tries to shake a big tree, he ends up shaking himself. When a stiff-necked bull stands with its foreleg planted firmly and refuses to move, you cannot make it go ahead only by pulling it by the reins and using your whip. When a 4-year child is still crawling instead of walking, it's time to cry out. What you do with injustice often backfires. What kills a calf comes from the udder. Wars are created by people too old to fight for those too young to die. You should know what's being cooked in the kitchen, otherwise you might eat a forbidden food. You don't beat a drum with one finger. You cannot think you could teach a fish to swim. You cannot beat a child to take away its tears. You ask for the ancestors' help and then help yourself. White ants can do no harm to a stone. Where many are gathered, there is much to be said. When you give a friend a goat, you have to let go of the leash. When the mother monkey leaves her baby to fall, one must not blame the dried branch. With one man's curse falls on a person, another one breaks it. When a slippery ground lies ahead, do not laugh at those who have fallen. When a dog cannot bite, it has a bone in its mouth. What you eat now comes out later. What's tightly wrapped is known only by the robber. War is a bad chisel with which to carve out tomorrow. You never know a line is zigzag until you put a straight line against it. You could destroy everything I have believed in, and your father before you, and his father before you. You cannot stop birds from flying over your head, but you can stop them nesting in your hair. You cannot be a mouse and a bat at the same time. You are only young once, but you can stay immature indefinitely. Good actions are nourishment for youth, much more than words. Those who waste time only hurt themselves. What you may call small, another will call it big. What makes up an anthill is the effort and order of determined and organized termites. Water that has been begged for does not quench the thirst. You wouldn't know how far the town is if you've been taken there. You don't become an expert in 5 days. You can't work for food when there is no food for work. You can't cure a wound by striking it gently. You can kill a man's identity on earth, but you can't kill his spirit. With time, an egg will walk. Who follows the elephant will have no problems. Where the heart sleeps is where you're bound to go at dawn. When you see a rat running in a fire, then what's running away from is hotter than fire. When the shadow of a tree is bent, straightens the tree, not the shadow. When problems visit a man, it arrives with its own bed and table. When a tortoise embarks on a journey, he doesn't ask for directions because he doesn't want his enemies to know where he is going. When a lion runs and looks back, it's not that he is afraid, rather, he is trying to see the distance he has covered. What you learn is what you die with. What makes a sheep bleat loudly, the goat had already seen before. Water is colorless and tasteless, but you can live on it longer than eating food. You will never know the importance of the buttocks until they develop a boil. You don't give someone a goat for a gift and still hold on to the rope. You cannot climb a bed of success with your hands tied up. You can hide wine in a gourd, but not in the belly. With much knowledge, there is much sorrow. With much wisdom, there is much weeping. Who eats too much will then be sick. Where the rain falls, there is no hunger. When you plant a yam, it produces another yam. When the river dries up, we will all see where the crocodile sleeps. When problems come, they carry along with them all their relatives. When a stone is identified, it cannot destroy a hoe. When a king has good counselors, his reign is peaceful. What you help a child to love can be more important than what you help him to learn. What makes a fool excited now, a wise person had heard before and isn't excited. Water from another man's calabash tastes differently. You shouldn't leave your own fire ablaze to go and put out your neighbor's fire. You don't verify from your mother the authenticity of what your grandmother has told you. You cannot stop planting cereals just because bears are going to feast on them. You cannot blindfold a man and expect him to ferry you across the river. You can beat a fool half to death, but you cannot beat the foolishness out of him. With a little seed of imagination, you can grow a field of hope. Who does not love to dance, does not love to sing. Where rain has ever been dropped before, when it rains again, it will get dropped once again. When you lose on the drum beating of the gods, you lose on the rhythm and pace of life. Which quotes you like the best? Share your opinions in the comments. Don't lose opportunity. Watch our next video. Thank you for watching.